Earth science faults. Fractures are planar discontinuity, that is interruption of the rock physical continuity due to stresses. The geological fractures occur at every scale, so that any large volume of rock has some or many. The discontinuities are attributed to sudden relaxation of elastic energy stored in the rock. The geological fractures have their economic importance. Fault terminology. Definitions. Faults separate two adjacent blocks of rock that have moved past each other because of induced stresses. The notion of a localized movement leads to two genetically different classes of faults, reflecting the two basic behaviors of rock under stress: brittle and ductile. Brittle fault. A fault is a discrete fracture between blocks of a rock displaced related to each other in a direction parallel to the fracture plane. A fault zone is a region containing several parallel or anastomosing, that is branching and reconnecting faults. Any fault bonded silver in a fault zone is a horse. Fault and fault zones are identified where either an earthquake occur or by geological mapping, showing that motion across a discontinuity has occurred in the past. Geologi- geologi- Geological maps usually show only faults that affect the outcrop pattern. This is hanging wall. This is dip or the fault plane. This is net slip. This is D. This is H. This is throw. This is S. This is football. This is strike of the fault. This is a striated fault plane. This is fault geometry with components of a relative moment. This is S is equal to strike slip component. This S is equal to strike slip component. D is equal to dip slip component. This D is equal to dip slip component. Then H is equal to heave extension like shortening. S is equal to heave extension like shortening. Ductile fault. Shear zones are the annulus in the ductile material of the faults in brittle material. Shear zones are the regions of localized but continuous ductile displacement formed under conditions of elevated temperature and or confining pressure, in contrast to fault zones that are regions of localized brittle deformation. Shear zones are thus ductile faults by contrast to the brittle faults. Undeformed protolith. X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. Shear, strain, gradient. This is B. This is kinematic framework. This is A, direction of shear. This is shear plane. This is displacement plane. Displacement plane, direction of shear. Finite strain framework. X greater than equals to Y greater than equals to Z. Ductile shear zone. Geometrical classification. Fault plane. High angle fault dip more than 45 degree. Faults dipping less than 45 degree are low angle faults. Most angle faults are segmented, each segment having its individual history. Fault segments are usually not coplanar. In general, fault surface undulate as common seen in 3D seismic data. The fault corrugations thereby identified are attributed to the linkage of fault segments. Elliptic fault is curved concave upward, that is, it gradually flattens with depth, where low angle faults affect a set of nearly horizontal bedded rocks. They generally follow a staircase path made up of alternating ramps and flats. The flats are where the overlying rock slides along a relatively weak bedding plane, also called a decollant plane, which refers to the surface across which there is a discontinuity in displacement strain and or fault style. The ramps are fault sections climbing through the strategic sequence, typically at around 30 degree to the horizontal across stiff competent layers. Ramps do not necessarily strike perpendicular to the movement direction frontal ramp. They also can be oblique or parallel to the transport direction lateral ramp or tier fault. Ramps in a thrust system. Then this is frontal ramp, this is oblique ramp, this is movement direction, this is lateral ramp. Ramps in a thrust system. The fault that intersected the ground surface while it was inactive, it is an emergent fault by opposition to blind faults that did not break the surface. Emergent faults produce a topographic step, the fault scarp. Attention! An emergent fault is not an assumed fault. Erosion reaching a fault makes also a fault trace on the earth's surface. Fault scar. Emergent normal fault. This is blind normal fault. Fault blocks. The hanging wall and the footwall designate the rock immediately above and below a non-vertical fault or shear zone respectively. Rocks that have been translated great distances away from their original site are allochthonous Allochthonous rocks have lost connection with their original site, are rootless. They come to rest on autochthonous rocks which have retained their original location. Parathonous refers to locally transported rocks. Kinematic classification. Slip is the direction of movement of one wall related to other. The net slip is the displacement vector connecting originally coincident points, the piercing points on opposite sides of the fault plane. This is apparent horizontal offset on map. Strike separation due to pre-existing dip and erosion of the displacement layer along a normal fault with the strike slip component. This is strike separation. This is logical map. These are the arrows. Here is the arrow. Here is the arrow. It is stick slip component. It is net slip. This is heave is equal to horizontal extension component. This is net slip. This is map surface. This is vertical component is equal to through. Vertical component is equal to 3. Vertical component is equal to throw. Vertical component is equal to throw. Vertical component is equal to throw. This vertical component is equal to throw. The components of net slip parallel to the strike and dip of the fault are the strike slip and the dip slip respectively. The rake is the angle measured within the fault plane down the strike direction to the line of slip. The plunge is the angle measured in the vertical plane that contains the slip line between the horizontal in this plane and the slip line. The offset shown by parallel feature in a vertical cross section perpendicular to the fault is the dip separation. The vertical component of a dip separation is the throw and the horizontal component perpendicular to the fault stake is the heave. Notice that dip separation is not equivalent to the dip slip, the former depending on orientation of the offset as well as on the nature of the fault displacement. Note, a bedding surface alone can never be used to determine slip. Faults are classified according to direction or relative movement between fault blocks which is related to type of stress causing the fault. Faults are classified according to the direction of the relative movement between fault blocks which is related to this type of stress causing the fault. Fault classes. Normal fault. A normal fault is a high angle dip slip fault on which the hanging wall has moved down related to the footwall. A normal fault brings younger rocks over older zones. Because of separation of geological horizons, normal faults are also termed extension faults. Then this is normal fault. This is extension. This is the downward arrow. Extensional ramps termed detachments cuts down section in the direction of transport. Although a typical detachment has no roots and follows a stratigraphic horizon, Some call a lag or a denudation fault a normal fault with dip less than 45 degree. Reverse fault. A reverse fault is a dip slip fault on which the hanging wall has moved up and over the footwall. Consequently, old rocks lay over younger ones. Such faults produce a repetition or overlap of a geological horizon and are accordingly termed compression fault. This is thrust, this is shortening, this is the upward arrow. A thrust fault is a low angle reverse fault along which hanging wall forms thrust sheets, nares of allochthonous rocks emplaced over autochthonous or parathonous footwall. Most common thrust ramp up section towards the surface in the direction of tectonic transport. Strike slip fault. Strike slip fault usually have a very steep or vertical dips and relative movement between the adjacent is horizontal parallel to the strike of the fault plane. Large strike slip faults are referred to as transcurrent faults and wrench faults. This is dextral. This is sinistral. This is dextral. This is sinistral. This is strike slip faults. The terms sinistral left lateral and dextral right lateral describe the sense of strike slip displacement. A fault is sinistral if to an observer standing on one block and facing the other, the opposite is displaced to his left. Conversely, the fault is dextral if the movement is to the right. A transfer fault is a strike slip fault that transmits displacement between two similar oriented fault segments. Example, two normal faults. This is transfer fault. This is strike slip component. Extension transfer from one normal fault to another normal fault through a transfer fault. Extension transfer from one normal fault to another normal fault through a transfer fault. Assuming that thrust and normal force strikes at a high angle to slip direction, transfer faults liking two thrusts or normal thrusts are therefore nearly parallel to the movement direction. A tear fault is a strike slip fault that runs across the strike of contractional or extensional belt and accommodates differential displacement between two segments of belt. This is tear fault. These are the curves. This is the curve. This is can be the cuboid like structure. Then this is the angle of sight. This is the direction of sight. Then transform fault. A transform fault is a strike slip fault at plate boundaries. There are three types. Ridge transform link two segments of a constructive plate boundary. Trench transform links two segments of a destructive plate boundary. Ridge trench transform link a constructive plate boundary to a destructive one. Ridge transform faults are the most common. Divergent plate boundary with a transform fault. This is magma rising in the rift valley of the mid-oceanic ridge. These are the arrows. This is rift valley. This is lithosphere. This is plate movement. This is a asthenosphere. This is active transfer fault. This is inactive fracture zone. This is divergent plate boundary with a transfer fault. These are the arrows. This is the rift valley. This is inactive fracture zone. This is asthenosphere. Transform faults are the active between ridges and dead beyond the offsets, and they are parallel to small circles centered at the poles of rotation of the plates. Hybrid fault. The terms normal fault and reverse fault, while strictly defined for faults with zero strike slip displacement, also apply to the faults with small strike slip components accompanying much larger slip displacement, where the strike slip and dip slip displacement, where the strike slip and the dip slip component displacements has similar magnitude. The fault may be called an oblique slip fault. Hybrid fault. Can be hybrid fault. Dip oblique slip fault can be hybrid fault. Scissor fault. One fault block can rotate around an axis perpendicular to the plane of a scissor faults. This is the rotational movement on scissor fault. This can be the direction of a side. Then growth fault. A thicker stratigraphic sequence on hanging wall than sedimentary layers of same age on the footwall of fault indicates fault movement during sedimentation. Growth faults form characteristically but not exclusively an unconsolidated sediment deposit in basins actively growing in breadth and depth. Then sediments with different thickness. The footwall then hanging wall. This is planar normal fault. This is footwall. This is hanging wall. This is wedge shaded sedimentary layers. This is planar normal fault. This is listic normal fault. This is planar normal fault. This is listic normal fault. Growth normal faults with acidic sedimentary basins. Growth normal faults with acidic sedimentary basins. Causes of faulting. Faults are generally caused under the influence of stresses acting upon the rocks or the crust or the earth from within, immediately or even gradually after the development of these fractures. The block created along the fracture suffers sudden or gradual displacement along those fractures under the influence of the same or different stresses that caused the fracturing of the rocks at the first place. In a highly oversimplified situation, the type of fault likely to form is related to stress field operating in a given area. Thus, talking in terms of three principal stresses, normal faults would form when sigma 1 the maximum stress is vertical. Similarly, Stiesley faults form when sigma 2 the immediate stress is vertical, and reverse or thrust faults form in situation where in the stress field the minimum stress direction, that is sigma 3, comes to occupy the vertical direction. As to the source of these forces that are responsible for causing faults of great dimension in the crust, in many cases, even for several hundred kilometers, it may be said that this has been one of the most baffling problems in the geology. According to one view, the shrinkage experienced by the crust of the earth due to its gradual cooling from an originally hot molten state is primarily responsible for the tension developing in the crust. What is the relevant here about the convection currents is that they exert a dragging effect at places below the crust where they diverge, causing tension, and compressive effect at other places where the currents happen to converge. Gravity or normal force are believed to be caused under the influence of horizontal tension, whereas thrust forces are responsible of compressive forces that may throw the rocks into sphere typing of folding before actual development of faults.